If a single ship gets stuck in any of these 5 tiny strips of water, the global economy crashes and your gas goes to $20 a gallon. Here is why your life is held hostage by geography. Right now, the world is sweating over the oil crisis. You turn on the news and everyone is aggressively blaming their least favorite politician for why everything is so expensive. But the real problem isn't just who is drilling the oil or who is sitting in office. It is Mother Nature's genuinely terrible city planning. We like to think the modern economy lives in the cloud, that it's robust, digital, and unbreakable. It is not. Your economy is a highly physical, incredibly fragile system of 1,000-foot steel buckets floating on salt water. Think of the global ocean as a massive highway system carrying the energy that powers your car, heats your home, and grows your food. Now imagine that highway has to funnel all of its traffic through 5 single-lane dirt roads. These are the world's maritime choke points. They are narrow, they are crowded, and geographically speaking, they are located in the absolute worst neighborhoods on Earth. Today, we are doing a forensic audit of the 5 geographic glitches controlling the world. Stick around for number 3, because I guarantee you paid for it out of your own pocket recently. No politics, just geography, math, and the brutal reality of how the world actually works. Number 1 is the undisputed big boss, the Strait of Hormuz. A fifth of the world's daily oil supply flows through this gap, every single day. We are talking about 21 million barrels of oil. At its narrowest, the shipping lane is just 2 miles wide in each direction. For context, you could paddleboard across the thing, keeping modern civilization intact in about 20 minutes. I don't recommend it, but you could. On one side, you have the UAE and Oman. On the other side, Iran. Now, whenever things get tense in the Middle East, people ask, can't we just use pipelines? The short answer is no. The long answer is absolutely not. A single supertanker is the size of the Empire State Building laid on its side. Pipelines are a rounding error compared to what these ships carry. If Hormuz gets blocked, whether by sea mines, military blockades, or a rogue tanker sinking in the channel, here is the doomsday math for your personal bank account. 20% of the global oil supply evaporates overnight. Crude oil would rocket past $150, maybe $200 a barrel within days. Aviation fuel would become so expensive that airlines would simply ground flights. You aren't just canceling your vacation. The trucks delivering food to your grocery store stop running. It's called the jugular vein for a reason. If Hormuz is severed, the global economy bleeds out in a matter of weeks. Choke point 2, Bab el-Mandeb, the Gate of Tears. If your oil survives the Persian Gulf, it likely heads west, which brings us to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Its name translates from Arabic to the Gate of Tears. Clearly, ancient sailors weren't exactly known for their toxic positivity. This is the southern entrance to the Red Sea, and right now it is the hottest geopolitical mess on Earth. Because Yemen sits right on its eastern edge, militant groups have discovered a terrifying loophole in modern warfare. You don't need a billion-dollar navy to hold global trade hostage. You just need a few cheap drones you bought online. When ships get attacked here, maritime insurance companies panic. They revoke coverage, or premiums spike by 1,000%. Without insurance, a $100 million ship does not sail. Instead, they do the unthinkable. They sail completely around the entire continent of Africa. This isn't a minor detour. Taking the Cape of Good Hope route adds up to 4,000 extra miles to a journey. It burns millions of dollars in extra fuel per ship, and it delays the arrival of energy and goods by 2 to 3 weeks. When ships take longer to arrive, it means there are fewer ships available globally to load new cargo. Shipping rates skyrocket. And guess who pays for that? You do. The cost of that detour is quietly baked into the price of your Amazon Prime delivery and your heating bill. You are literally funding geographical chaos. Choke point 3, the Suez Canal, the $9 billion parallel park. If you brave the drones and make it past the Gate of Tears, congratulations. Now you have to thread the needle through choke point number 3, the Suez Canal. Remember in March 2021 when a single boat did a parallel parking job so spectacularly bad that it broke the world? Yeah, that was here. The Suez Canal is a 120-mile artificial ditch dug through the Egyptian desert. It handles about 12% of all global trade. It is the ultimate shortcut, connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. But the Suez has zero margin for error. When the Ever Given, a ship the length of 4 football fields, got hit by a sandstorm and wedged itself diagonally across the canal, it blocked the passage of over 400 ships. That single traffic jam held up $9 billion worth of goods every single day. We aren't just talking about oil and cheap plastic junk. There were ships stuck in that traffic jam carrying thousands of live sheep and cattle, rapidly running out of feed. It took a fleet of tugboats, a massive dredging operation, and the literal phases of the moon, waiting for a high spring tide, to pry it loose. The Ever Given proved a terrifying point. You don't need a war or a missile to crash the global economy. Sometimes, you just need a slightly stronger than average gust of wind. Choke point 4, the Turkish Straits, the Russian valve. Number 4 takes us into Europe. The Bosporus and Dardanelles, collectively known as the Turkish Straits. Imagine trying to maneuver a 1,000-foot floating bomb full of highly flammable crude oil through downtown traffic. That is the Bosporus. It literally cuts the megacity of Istanbul in half. It has hairpin turns, blind corners, and crazy, unpredictable underwater currents. Why does this treacherous strip of water matter to you? Because it is the only way out for oil and agricultural goods coming from the Black Sea. That means it's the primary export valve for Russia, Kazakhstan, and the Caspian region. Turkey controls these straits under a 1936 treaty, giving them massive geopolitical leverage. If Turkey ever decides to close the gates, or if 2 massive ships just accidentally bump into each other and block the channel, millions of barrels of oil and millions of tons of wheat get trapped in a bathtub. Choke point 5, the Strait of Malacca, the Asian Achilles heel. Finally, we head to Asia for choke point number 5, the Strait of Malacca. If the Strait of Hormuz is the heart pumping the oil, Malacca is the main artery feeding the world's biggest factory, Asia. Over 80,000 ships pass through here every year, carrying 16 million barrels of oil a day. At its narrowest point, near Singapore, the shipping lane is only 1.5 miles wide. It is constantly plagued by terrible weather, massive traffic jams, and yes, actual, real-life modern pirates who board ships and hijack cargo like it's the 1700s. But the real threat here is strategic. China is the manufacturing engine of the world, but they import the vast majority of their oil. Almost all of it comes through this single strait. Chinese military strategists are so terrified of this vulnerability that they literally call it the Malacca Dilemma. They know that if the US Navy, or anyone else, decided to blockade this tiny strip of water during a conflict, the Chinese economy would suffocate. They would burn through their strategic petroleum reserves in months, and the factories that produce the world's iPhones, car parts, and medical supplies would simply power down. We live in an era where we think technology has conquered nature. We think AI and algorithms run the world. But at the end of the day, the algorithms don't keep the lights on. Diesel fuel does. And that fuel is entirely dependent on thousands of rusty ships playing an endless game of high-stakes Frogger through 5 tiny geographic bottlenecks. You might think the transition to electric vehicles will save us from this, but it won't. Because the lithium, cobalt, and copper required for the green energy revolution? Yeah, they get loaded onto the exact same ships, sailing through the exact same straits. As geopolitical tensions rise, these strips of water are no longer just shipping lanes. They are weapons. They are leverage. And whoever controls them controls the price of everything you buy. Sleep tight. If you made it all the way to the end, congratulations. You're officially part of the smart minority. Most people would rather scroll through 15-second dance videos than figure out why their groceries cost twice as much. But you actually want to understand how the world works, and that puts you way ahead of the curve. If you liked this breakdown, please drop a ship emoji in the comments. It really helps the channel grow. Now, if you want to keep going down the rabbit hole, you have two choices. Click right here on the screen to find out who the world owes $90 trillion to. Or click down here to learn the practical playbook on how to benefit from inflation. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.